you should reach out to the turf club and say, look, Darwin Clarke is talking shit about you. Would you like to come on my platform and defend whatever this guy is saying? And if you have a track manager that doesn't listen, then have a panel. Owners, trainers, whatever, 5 or 6 man team that makes those decisions. So not just having one person's opinion and their way of doing things. I'm good. First of all, Merry Christmas to you, because I don't think I'll see you live before Christmas. So Merry Christmas.
Oh, same to you and yours.
Well, luckily we have Christmas on the same day, right?
Yeah, that's right. Luckily.
Unlike your Canadian Thanksgiving.
Well, I think
You
it's pretty
guys need,
standard around the world, except for some places. Some places a
you,
little bit different.
yeah, you guys need to beat us in something. So I figure it's Thanksgiving.
I don't want to get into a battle of wars with America. You guys are pretty strong in numbers. We pretty much got logical common sense over here. You guys got power and numbers on the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah, we're overwhelming for Canada if anything happened. As a matter of fact, you're a good guy. Donald Trump called Canada a state, and you're leader a governor. So
The funny thing about that, I had this discussion with some guys that I know. I was like, I don't think it's funny at all. For me personally, I'm pretty sure for a lot more people, it's not a funny thing. Maybe the politicians think it's funny. The
no, it's just
Americans and the
ignorance.
Canadians have good.
It's just
You guys
ignorance.
have good dialogue, so maybe
He's
it's funny.
he's he's ignorant, man. He probably doesn't know his head from his butt right now. So, but he's ignorant. At
Yeah,
looking at AI, man, we're gonna do some building up here to get some data centers and stuff like that. Because AI is gonna take over, Derek. You better be ready for it, my friend.
you're right. I guess we're gonna save money too for businesses.
Well, yeah. I mean, if everything is automated, and I don't know how it was saved, but might make them more functional. Uh,
Yeah,
take the
it's. I think it only gets scarier when it affects your money.
Yeah, but we'll take out the human error. You know what I mean? Until AI figure out how to be half human and to have feelings and have ideologies and stuff like that. But right now, it's just what you plug in.
We,
But
we,
that's the scary part about AI. They're thinking at some point they'll learn how to program itself. And then when that happens, yeah, we'll be in a world of hurt.
are you a big AI person that some people are buying into it right now more than others? I know there are people who love it, and then there are others who just kind of don't like it at all.
Um, I mean, I can see the benefits of it, but obviously then I can see the downside. But the automation, the short-term financial gain, making chips and stuff like that to run the AI, all that is short-term. But in the long term, I don't know if it would be healthy for societies. You know,
Yeah,
but
you know, I just want to add to it because I love the fact that you have the options, but what I don't like about it is that I feel like if as people we're getting lazy and lazier. So a lot of people, don't want to use their muscles, and
right,
that could be bad for society, really.
yeah, yeah, they don't want to use their intellect, that the most valuable muscle in their body, which is their brain. But yeah, I mean, kids nowadays Google everything. I mean, they don't retain anything; they have to Google it all the time. And I don't know how it's going to affect stuff, but I don't know. I'm still old fashioned.
You know, um, I think there's pretty basic things to live in, and I think a lot of times we don't always follow those things because as human beings, we want to push the limits. We want to go further, right?
Well, we should though. I mean, we should explore, but with caution. Every invention or every new thing is not going to be great, but I see. You have to see how it plays out. I mean, I always say dream big and don't quit, but there's some things you're going to say, well, leave that unexplored. But hey, we're a progressive society, so we need progress all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I believe in that too. I believe in that, but it gets pretty tough when when persons don't want to actually do physical stuff. I
yeah, the physical stuff. Yeah, it's just clearing my plate. But I'm trying to get this gal to turn the music down. She's serving another table.
I
That's my
see.
friend. I think she's from Albania.
I
She's
see.
yeah. But anyway, she's busy with a customer. So I waved at her, but she sent another lady over that I'm not too familiar with. But yeah, I come here like 4 or 5 times a week, so it's kind of like my little
Oh,
spot. Yeah,
oh,
it's my
okay.
pit stop on the way home. I'll stop in, have a quick drink, and go home. Yeah, it's my pit stop area.
So you're very familiar in that area.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a
All right.
big area, but like establishments, yeah, right, very frequent. Yeah, got
Okay.
restaurants and stuff like that. I'm very familiar.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe we can shout it out. Maybe unless you don't want people to know
No,
where
it's
you
hop.
are.
Yeah, hops and drops, man. That's what it's called. Hops and drops.
There you go. There you
I
go.
even got a Christmas present. I'll show you my Christmas present. Check this out, Derek.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, see?
I wonder what it is.
I have no idea, bro. But to be honest, I'm not really doing Christmas this year, man.
What do you mean
Yeah.
you're not doing Christmas? Explain that.
Dude, I always put up lights, decorate the house and stuff like that. And this year, the wife is like, "Oh, let's not do Christmas." So, I mean, she's like, she wants a tree every year. I have a fake tree, but anyway, yeah, we're not doing Christmas. And then this morning I got it. I'm like, man, I should decorate the house. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to upset her, so I'm not going to decorate. And she said, no Christmas, no Christmas. But I have my Santa hat on, see? I'm ready.
And you got a Santa beard too.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, see?
It's
I'm
just
ready.
not white like mine. It's just black beard.
No, it got some white in there, bro.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
nothing compared to mine.
it has a little salt. It's funny, Derek. About 5 years ago, I had like a big old white patch right here. Boom. And my wife is like, are you going gray just in that one area? And then somehow it blended back in with some dark. I mean, true story. But I still have, miscellaneous, like, little bit of salt. Yeah,
But
not too much.
how does that work? Like, how could you have a patch of white here and
I
it just
have no
disappear?
idea. I have no idea. I mean, yeah, I have no idea. I can't tell you.
Oh
But
wow.
it was there, and then kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know if I knew it was gonna blend back into dark because they say it never comes back, right? So I don't know. I'm a freak somehow, I guess. But anyway, because my boss would look at it all the time because it would catch him by surprise. Like it was mostly dark and one white spot, and he always looked like thinking something is in my beard, right? But it was just a white spot and it went away, all white
Well,
hair. But yeah,
well, let me share my story with you with that white spot on the beard because I got a friend and he always has like a goatee, right? He only
hmm,
wears a goatee, and my friend Larry from Antigua, and for about 15 years, 20 years, I know him or whatever, he had just the one area with a white spot right there,
correct.
and that time I had no white hair, and I would look at him and say, "Man, Larry's old," and and now. All my
All of
face
yours
is
is white.
all
Wow.
mine is white. His is still one spot.
See, that served you right, right? It's like Larry's old. It's like, that has nothing to do with getting old, man. You can start having grades from early. I had a friend of mine, Roderick Lovell from Barbados. He was probably in his 30s and he was getting gray, I mean, from early. It's just probably in his genes, but anyway, he's a good horseman. I always wish that he was involved in the horses, but like he knows breeding off the top of his head. Yeah, he was. As a matter of fact, when we were young, we would call him the computer because if we get stuck on a breeding, we'll call him and say, "Hey, Roddy, who's this person by?" And he will he'll take you back 3, 4 generations just off the top of his head. But a brilliant guy. Went to Hartman College and just a very very smart guy. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
very very smart.
that's
But
just how life is. Everything is is not. I'm sorry. I mean, nothing is predictable. Well, some things are, but most things are unpredictable. So I would
correct.
say that's just how life is, man. You can't predict some of these things that happen out here.
No, but I mean like him. Like people always tell me I'm on the turf club, but he would be a great addition to a turf club, because he's so passionate about horses and yeah.
Are,
But anyway,
are you getting that too? I mean, I've got a bit of whispers from people saying how that you're always on top of the Barbados Turf Club. Are you getting that too?
I got a little feedback, but look, this I've been in horse racing horses for 45 years, about 46 years, and I would hate to see what's going on in Barbados. Go out the door. I mean, their jobs is to protect what we have and make it grow. I don't see that, so that's why I'm on them. And then when they do stuff that directly affects me, then I'm going to speak out. I'm not going to not say anything and just walk away quietly. Hell no, I'm not doing that. That's not who I am. So if they do stuff that rub me the wrong way or not fulfill their end of the bargain, then I'll speak out about it. I mean, I would say that's the American in me. You know, you don't mess with us, Derek. They'll come at you. So that's
It
it.
sounds like a warning to us from on the north side, but it's a
No, no.
little
You guys,
subtle jab. But
hey,
I'm
you
gonna take
guys
it as it
supply us.
is.
You guys supply us with a lot of stuff, so we can't do without you. You know. Well, let's be honest about the whole Trump and the North America or Mexico, China tariffs. If we implement these tariffs, the consumer's going to pay for it because we always get the end of the stick. And if he deports all these illegals, our economy is going to crash. It's not going to sputter. It's going to come to a complete halt. I mean, right now, we can probably do about 5 million people in the workforce right now. And my end of the spectrum, which is construction, it will come to a complete halt. Because I can go back to 25 to 30 years ago when most of the construction jobs were done by, I should say, um, Anglo-Saxons. White people were doing. I mean, from concrete forms, framing, drywall, roofing, everything was white people doing it. Maybe one or two black people you'll see. And now, concrete, Mexican, framing, Mexican, drywall, Mexican, roofing, Mexican. The the Europeans usually do siding, like Russians, Albanians, whatever they do. They do siding. I don't know how they got that niche, but they do a lot of siding work. And even middle management is heavily Hispanic because the labor force is Hispanic. And that took, what I've noticed in my time, probably 30 years to get to that point, 25 at least. So if you decide to gut that, everything is going to halt because you're not going to plug back in those people that are the non-skilled tradesmen. You're not going to do that overnight. So, I mean, if something like that was to happen, it would have to be a slow transition. But he's talking about mass deportations, and it's not it's not practical. I mean, if he wants to do it, he can do it, but it's not practical.
I
I mean,
want to add to that. I want to add to that you continue with that, because I know over here I've been listening to some smarter people than I am, and they were saying that you know, from Donald Trump point of view, what they get from this is you know, maybe he's talking out loud and big and bold just to get Canada um, to make moves, and when Canada secure our border, then he can say, "Hey, look to the public in America. Look, the border is secured from on Canada side, and the border is secured on our side, and yeah, we don't need the tariffs anymore, and go from there."
well, how are you going to secure the borders? There's open crossing between Canada and the U.S. Right out of my state, you can go up I-5 and go into Canada where there's secure border, I should say. It's not protected, but there's customs on both sides, right? But if you go a little to the east, there's an area where you basically is honor system. You sign your name, your vehicle, and you drive over into Canada. And when you drive into Canada, there's nobody on that side. You just drive, and then when you come back, you sign your name, and boom, you're back into America. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't believe it's a good policy. When Reagan was in power, he tore the wall down. So I don't know why America is building the wall. Yes, we need immigration reform, but it's not. It's not. We wouldn't get it by building a wall. I mean, God, he built a wall a couple of years ago, and when he was in power, and the Mexicans took a sawzall and cut a hole in it, and were just crossing. So think about that. You spend millions of dollars to build a stretcher wall and a sawzall, which is 80 something bucks in the US, and you go cut it, boom. And then he said, well, I built it that way so when they cut it, we can patch it. I mean, that doesn't even make sense, right?
Right.
But yeah, he's not a smart guy. But the thing about his policies is that he has people behind him that really want these policies. So I'm not trying to scare anyone, but it will happen. I don't know if it'll happen on the same scale, but restaurants will feel it. Like meat manufacturing places are 90% Hispanic. Yeah, almost everything we use is very, very heavily Hispanic.
This portion of the video is brought to you by Amplify Stables. Having a good team is important when you are dealing with the horses. The energy, the passion, and the consistency all come together on the track and off the track. Amplify Stables gives you the full package if you are breaking horses or boarding horses. Please check out their website to get more information on how you can reach them. Check the link below.
So I
Do
don't
you
know
think
how.
do you think that the general public want that change completely, or you think it's just a portion of people who are just pushing for some of their I don't know, their dislikes or whatever?
There's a portion of people, look, man, I live in a state, thank God, that's not a very racist state. I can go anywhere in this state and be myself and be comfortable, and a lot of Hispanics do. But then right next door we have Idaho, that's a racist freaking state. We used to have the KKK there for a while, but I think most of them are gone. And I got kicked out of a bar in Idaho.
You got
I
what?
mean,
Sorry.
kicked out of a bar. Like,
Or were you disruptive? Were you drunk and
no, I was just chilling, but I was the only black man there.
what was that confrontation like? Well, tell me about that.
Well, I was doing some work at the University of Washington State University, and that's like 8 miles from the Idaho border. And one weekend, it was mom's weekend, so the hotel I was staying for the week was like $300 a night. So I drove down the road to this place called Lewiston, Idaho, and I got a hotel there. It's just right on the border of Washington and Idaho, but it was in Idaho. So one night, a Tuesday night, I went to the bar and I'm sitting there, only black man in this bar, right? And this guy came up to me. He was like maybe 10 feet away from me. He said, "Oh my God, there's a brother in the bar." And I was like, "Oh my God, here he goes." Right. So he came up, put his arm around me. He's like, "Welcome, bro." He's like, "Where you from?" So I told him Tacoma. And he said, "I grew up in Tacoma." He told me he grew up in this area called Hilltop, which was a real bad gang banging area at the time.
Hmm.
And we're talking, and he's like, "This is a biker bar, but if anyone mess with you, just let me know." Right? I was all right. So he went away, and I had a good time. That was Tuesday. The Wednesday, I went back there, and totally different vibe. And there was a big kid. I mean, this kid is probably 300 pounds. What we would call in the U.S. corn fed, right? Just big. And his buddy looked just like Hulk Hogan. I mean, handlebar, mustache, huge. And they work for a company called SS Construction. So he was like me mugging me all night, and I'm just there chilling. And as a matter of fact, Obama was running for president at the time, so it was around 2008. And this old guy I was sitting next to was like, "Don't tell anybody that I told you this, but I'm voting for Obama." And I'm like, "Cool, whatever." So then the big kid came over. He said, "Hey, what are you doing in the bar?" I said, "Man, I'm just having a drink, chilling out." And he goes back over, talks to his buddy again. Then he comes back over, and he's like, "You notice there's any black people in here?" And I said, "No." I said, "I haven't noticed any black people in this whole town." He's like, "Yeah, there's a reason for that." I said, "Well, here's what. I'm going to finish up my Guinness. I was drinking a Guinness." I said, "I'll finish up my Guinness, and I'll get out your bar." So he goes back over. I finish my Guinness. I pay my tab, and I laugh. It's like first time ever.
Well, that
But
was
yeah,
easy. I mean, I
oh
probably would
yeah,
have would use a few smart ass words. I don't know if I would have to fight, but I would probably be
you'll
trying to
probably
mess
have
with
to
your
fight.
brain.
You'll probably have to fight.
Oh, okay. I guess fighting is probably the chosen point of
Remember,
action.
remember, you're in America, not Canada.
Well, I'm not a big guy, so for all my life, that's all I've been doing, just being a smart ass.
Yeah, in America, people have guns. You know what I mean? You're not in Canada where you guys share the six guns.
Hey, look, man,
Oh,
I'll tell you a secret. Maybe the beef with Drake and Kendrick
Kendrick
Lamar.
Lamar. Oh my God.
What the secret that people don't realize is Toronto is a pretty stacked city, man. So, I mean, the record speaks for itself. So I won't get into that. That's not my line, but definitely here is no joke either.
Yeah, but look, beef in Canada is different than beef in the U.S. And these young boys, they're not beefing. They're probably making money selling records. But years ago, when the gangster rap was gangster rap, beefing would be a couple shots. Somebody would have got hurt by now. But they're doing their over the air beef BS. I mean, you think East Coast, West Coast with Biggie and Tupac. Tupac was in New York, got shot I think 6 times or something like that, and then and Biggie made the mistake to go back over on the West Coast. Guess what? He was dead, right? So these gangster beef, whatever, it's not like it used to be. I mean, it's stupid, man. Absolutely stupid.
Well, now it's all different because people are saying it's possibly that the beef with Drake and Kendrick maybe it's sales generated
Yeah.
for different. They both run by the same company.
Yeah, but even if it's real legitimate, it's not going to end like how beefs used to end before. You know what I mean?
Nah,
It's not.
both.
We've come a long way.
Yeah, I'm happy about that too.
Hey, we'll have to go to Barbados for that stuff to happen,
No,
which I don't understand, man. There's like shootings every day, bro.
you know,
I mean,
to be honest, You know, it's funny thing about it is like I'm glad you brought that up because um, I've kind of narrowed down my circle where I don't hear about those things anymore, and I guess it's always a reminder every now and then.
Yeah, no, I have people that would inform me on the shootings, but I'm so disappointed. That was my island that you could walk anywhere, go anywhere, knock on anybody's door, ask them to use a telephone, glass of water, whatever, something to eat. And now there's areas where you should not go and stuff like that. I mean, that's 40 years in America. I mean, there's not many places now that I mean, like there's still hot spots even in this state that's like gang related, but there's nobody shooting you for wearing blue or red or that kind of stuff or killing you for your sneakers. That stuff is long gone, man. And now Barbados seems to be striving on it. I don't understand that. When it's
Why do
so
you think
small.
that happens? Like, why do you think that
I'm gonna
people?
get in trouble now with the law, just like the turf club. People not doing their job, man. That's it. That's it.
What do you
That's
mean
it.
in on the island, or are you talking about in
On the
general?
island, yeah, it's too small, Derek. It's too small. I mean, like, look, this state that I live in is a large state, right? And we don't have that BS. I mean, we do have shootings. I mean, you have 3 or 4 a day, but nine out of 10 times it's not gang related. It's some road rage or something like that. But access to guns and stuff like that is probably the main driver. You have like young kids that don't understand the consequences, and I think on the island people don't really have a good grasp of what life is worth. So
You, I'm happy you brought it up because I was talking to someone last night. We were talking about how people perceive the value of life and their life in general, and it seems like sometimes certain segments of our society don't value life the same way others do, and it's quite amazing. It's
they really
shocking
don't.
actually.
I had a concealed weapon permit, which means I can carry a gun anywhere and it could be hidden. So I could put my gun in my crotch, in my pocket, have it hidden in my car. It was legal. And one day I realized that if someone cut me off and I have my gun in the car, I would flip them off or be really, really, really aggressive towards that person, knowing that I have my gun. And the days I didn't have my gun, it would be like, okay, it's your road, buddy. Be careful out there. So guess what? I stopped carrying my gun in my car. But I used to, like the Rock will tell you, usually I'm driving, and I used to have a 9 millimeter behind the passenger seat where I could just put my hand there. My gun is right there, and then I'll have a gun in the back also. And because I drive an expensive car, people mean mug you something, whatever. But I got to the point, it's like, you know what? If you want the car, just take it. You know what I mean? I can get another, and I don't want to draw my gun on some person because you don't draw a gun unless you're going to use it. And if I use it, I think I might have to lay some person down. So I was like, you know what? Leave the guns at home, and somebody come in my house. That's a different ball game. But as far as having it on my person or whatever, yeah, I don't need it. It's gonna just land me in trouble.
Yeah, the gun definitely makes makes you a little bit more aggressive. It
Hmm.
makes, I mean, me personally, it gives me a feeling like if I'm invincible.
Right.
Uh,
It gives you a false sense of security.
it absolutely. So even though I know I'm not, I still feel like I got life and I'm here and I feel strong and
Right.
I think that is a real issue.
And
Uh,
even like imprisonment, we all know that the death penalty does not curb crime. So you can
right.
have death penalty. People they don't think about it. They don't think, well, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to go to prison. I'm going to lose my life. Via hanging or injection or whatever. But so it does it. So if you take away the guns, which America is kind of in that phase right now with all the school shootings, we need to take away the guns and less guns, gun security, whatever. But my point being is that Barbados is a tiny spot, and you can't police that to get rid of the guns and get rid of all the serious violence. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, if that was a tiny spot in America, it would be cleaned up in a month. So this is one of the strategies that the cops in America implement. If you have a hot spot, they'll set up a police precinct in that hot spot, a mobile precinct, where you always have that police presence. And guess what? Those people dissipate, get arrested, whatever, but they're gone. In a month or two, it's no longer a hot spot. I mean, you have Barbados is small, so it's hard to have undercover, but that's another tactic that they use in the U.S. And I had a buddy, a huge guy. He was about 300 pounds. Um, he went to prison for 11 years, and I would go to see him every 6 weeks. I'll go wherever he was at, because in Washington it's cheaper to keep inmates in other states, so they'll farm them out. Like
I
they'll
mean,
sell them.
prison is a big deal in the U.S., man.
Oh my God, it's a big business. And it can be stopped. What's his name? Jesse Jackson said to a group of prisoners, he said, I'm going to close down every prison in America, but I need one thing from you guys. And they're like, what's that? What's that? He said, never come back. Never come back. Because if you don't come back, they won't have a need for prisons. Which is very, very simplistic. It's true, but it's simplistic. And they all started booing. He's thinking, well, I'm solving your problem on prisons by you not coming back. I mean, if Starbucks doesn't make coffee, you know, half the world will
Right.
stop drinking coffee. So
That's
anyway,
right.
my buddy, big guy, his arms around his biceps was like 22 inches, so you would say his arms can drink and stuff like that. But anyway, he went to prison, and he went to a maximum security prison here. It's called Walla Walla for a while. And then when he went to Las Vegas, he went to prison in Vegas. And he told me, he said, I was so freaking scared. Now, bear in mind, this guy's over 300 pounds, and he had a low weight in his tummy, but he was the second strongest person in the prison system. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember how much, but I would show you pictures of him. He's just yoked all his neck. But anyway, he was scared in Vegas. He said that's the only prison system that had more big guys than he's ever seen in any prison system. So if
Oh
you
wow.
expose some of our kids to real serious prisons and what goes on in the prisons and how the prisons are run by the inmates, they might think twice about committing crimes.
Well, I also think that based on what I've heard from conversation too, is that like some people and I guess industries, they kind of glorify prison life also, and kids seem to think that going in prison gives them a better one up on life. Also, you look like in our communities and guys who've been to prison. I know now we've got one of the high profile people in hip hop, which is Diddy, and he's in prison. But you had like my man who was one of my favorite artists ever, which is Buju Banton, in prison
Hmm.
in the U.S. for many many years.
Yeah.
Uh, and now in the younger generation, there was Vibes Cartel, who is I'm not a big fan of Vibe Cartel, but he's still a good artist. But he was in prison, now he's out. So I'm just saying, like, there's some people who glorify the prison life, and and maybe that adds to it. I don't know.
It does. I mean, it does to a certain degree, but you can get those same young minds trained in different aspects, not just glorifying prison or glorifying this or that or whatever the case may be. But if you teach them other things, like be a steward of your society, be part of your community. Just try to be a stalwart in something else, but that glorifying gangster life. I mean, you're gonna end up two places, either dead or in prison. Why not live a normal life, add to society, and not take away? But I mean, we all had the choices when we were young to do that. Either to be, you know, quote unquote bad person or a good person.
Yeah.
And both take a lot of work.
I mean, I've always said that. I said I've been in circles with many different types of people. I mean, even to this day, I still run into people from the past. And to be quite honest, it's just decisions that I have to make.
Hmm.
How much time do I spend with that area, and how much time do I spend with the other? You know.
Right.
So, anyways, um, that's that. I was going to tell you something because I remember there was a guy who ran drugs in Barbados for many years, and I saw it in a podcast like many about 10 years ago, and maybe a little bit less than 10 years ago. No, probably about 5 years ago, and he was on a podcast, and he was saying like the drug game was the only option for him, and he was saying like as a poor person, it seems like that was his way of getting out, and he's like, do you mean to tell, so they were saying like you couldn't find something else to do, but he was like, you mean to tell me that I'm going to have to sit here and take the scraps all my life, and this is all we're going to continue to do for all our life, just take the scraps.
No, you can make it, man. You just have to apply yourself the same way you apply yourself in the drug business. You can apply it in another business. It doesn't have to be the drug business. But the drug business, to me, is relatively easy. I've seen and I've known people in the game, and one little mistake, and they're like, "Okay, I'm getting out. I'm done, done, done." And some of them got out, but the problem is, I'm not advocating selling drugs or whatever, but these guys that do it, they want to live on both ends of the spectrum where they want to do the legal stuff, but then they want to have this like glorifying life. I think that's what the kids gravitate to. Well, if I sell this, I might be able to get a chain, and a chain is status and this and that, as opposed to putting that energy into something else.
Well, speaking of the drug game and drug business, just a few weeks back, there was the CEO of the I don't want to say the wrong words, but the guy who got killed
Yeah,
in
United
New
Health
York.
here. Mhm.
And quite honestly, there are people who were glorifying his death, um, and then there's others who are saying, "Look, this is cold-blooded murder." And but people are upset. People are starting to come to this conclusion in the U.S. that look, we need better security for our health care compared to sitting there and just waiting to be a statistic.
Now, the thing is, okay, as far as the CEO's death and stuff like that, that's horrible. But then if you give CEOs of big companies security, then you have to do security for, and they already have for all of Congress. I mean, to me, it's a random thing. It's a horrible act. But obviously, probably that guy has some beef with the healthcare system. I mean, he's going to be on trial, so I'm sure that's going to come out. But I'm not advocating it. But the people that are saying, way to go kind of thing. I mean, that's bullshit too. You can't take some person's life like that and then act like it's some badge of honor or you have all this support for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you think that could be a game changer too in the US? Because some people may look at it like, hey, look, if I jump into this position, I don't want to have to deal with some kind of random person stalking me and snuffing me out over me being the leader or the head of this organization.
Well, I mean, everything is public. You know who leads these companies and stuff like that. You can go online, see their bios and their profiles. Um, but even teachers get killed in the line of duty. A teacher goes to school to teach kids, and some kid comes. and, shoots up the whole class and the teacher dies. So I don't know. The fix to me is to get the guns out of public hands, but that's our Second Amendment. So
Well, uh,
yeah, so
yeah,
I mean, you can't get the guns away. So we can try to moderate or monitor who has what, and health issues is another thing that a lot on the other side would lean on to. It's like, oh well, he's just a crazy guy. But I don't know. You can't provide security though. Then all the jobs in the market would be security.
yeah. Well, there's a bigger issue.
Or we can make healthcare more affordable.
Well, I mean that would be that would be one thing that it seems like some people just don't want. I don't know why.
Because it's money, man. It's money. It's money. It's money. Look, I my wife, she had a stent put in. She was having some problems with her heart, and $250,000 later. You know what I mean? But you have health insurance. You pay health insurance. So my tab over it was 10%. So I'm sure Canadian, if he goes and gets any type of heart surgery, he's not paying 25 grand. So, but that's the society we live in America. If your copay is 10%, don't need any heart surgery, my friend. Have a
you
little
know.
splint to your finger or something like that.
Well,
That's crazy. And the thing is, Derek, I can have my dogs today or tomorrow, go to the vet, have a major surgery. I pay the vet, I walk away. If I need a major surgery tomorrow, I'm going to have to go to a specialist. This, that. It's going to be 2 or 3 weeks. Unless, of course, you go into the emergency and it's life threatening. But it takes long. I mean, people die because they're waiting on a specialist to see them and stuff like that. So the healthcare system on a whole is eroding, in my opinion. But yeah, shooting CEOs is not going to help it.
we have a very similar um, conversation or issue here, where regular people are getting pretty annoyed about waiting so long to have a surgery done. But
Hmm.
for the most part, you pay your taxes, and that helps so that you won't have to pay for the surgery. But it'll take
Correct.
a little while to get it. Even
Hmm.
for an MRI, a lot of people would pay a little bit of money and run over to Buffalo or somewhere and
Correct.
get
And
an
get it.
MRI
Yeah,
done.
if they can afford it. Yeah.
Exactly. So what they're advocating for is having private businesses do these surgeries or whatever, right?
Oh, right, right.
But
But
they're also
still a
saying
bit
it could be
costly.
it's borderline too, because
Right.
it's one of those things where people can be robbing the system blind too with
Correct.
the private companies. So,
That would
anyways, it's
happen. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's I
It's
don't
like
know. It's one of those
Medicare.
things we got to
There's
get
so
together.
much Medicare fraud in the U.S. There's a ton of Medicare fraud. But Americans, we can come to Canada and get cheaper drugs. We can go to Mexico and get lap band surgery, whatever surgery you want to have. The women go get facelifts and tummy tucks and boobs and whatever. So I mean, Mexico is making money. Canada is making money. I mean, I I don't have any health issues right now, so. But I mean, if my drugs were costing too much in the U.S., hey, I'll call one of my Canadian buddies and say, hey, can you get this for me? But I've been to Mexico several times, and on the street, there are soliciting you to buy whatever. You can buy opioids, I mean, any drug. You just walk in the pharmacy, give the guy the money, and you get whatever you need. Just like that.
Well,
So there are seniors that will take a trip to Mexico, buy all their prescription drugs, and come back to the U.S., and it pays for their trip.
the,
But yeah, our healthcare system needs a little vamping. Our seniors need relief. I mean, there's a lot of things, and people are talking about that they might take away Medicare from the seniors. And I don't know, Derek. I mean, scary times ahead, my friend. Scary, scary times.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I think these two countries, actually Canada and America, have to start getting it together, because we may have a leadership change here in Canada pretty soon. My man Justin Trudeau is not so favorable right now with the public, and he doesn't seem to want to resign. They've been trying to get him to resign for the past week,
Well,
but he's not giving in. It seems so. I don't know if he's going to do it soon or he's not going to do it.
yeah, but
But
what are they wanting, though? I mean, look, you know what? Some people get really comfortable, like the Americans. Yeah, we had higher than normal food prices coming out of COVID, blah blah blah, whatever. But at least you had leadership that was real leadership, not this fly by night. Nobody knows who's on first that we're gonna have for the next 4 years. That's really scary, Derek. I mean, really, really, really scary. And then you had Jeff Bezos, kissing the ring. Got Elon Musk, so two of the richest people in the world is sucking up to this guy. So we may be in a world of hurt.
it's
So
funny because we're in Canada. They like to rotate the leaders every 4 8 years, whatever it is.
yeah,
Get tired of the next one. Let's change over.
but the thing is, every administration have their own ideology, the way they think things are run, and that's fine. Whether you be conservative or progressive. But when you have an idiot coming in that has no real ideology, no real stance on anything, it's scary. I mean, in COVID, he did the Muslim ban. Any dark people coming in, he didn't want that, this, that, whatever. I'm not saying that because I'm a dark skinned person. I'm just saying that because it was true. But what are you gonna do when it gets in? Hopefully we have enough stop gaps that we can stop him from being radical on some of his ideas. And although the Republicans will control the House and Congress, the Senate, I should say, I still think there's enough conservative Republicans that will vote no on some of his stupid ideas. So we have that check and balances. I'm not quite sure how the Canadian system works, but you need those checks and balances. You definitely do.
I gotta tell you something because I've been watching a lot of the U.S. media, and to me it seems like if a lot of Black Americans wasn't really too tuned into Kamala while she was campaigning. I
You know
mean,
why?
tell me
Because they're
why.
stupid. They're stupid, Derek. They're stupid. Union workers voted for Trump. Republicans are so against unions. They want every single trade to be non-union, so you can pay them half of what we'll call a good living salary. They want cheap labor, but they don't want Hispanic labor or black labor. They want cheap white labor. I don't know where that's going to come from. And yeah, but they voted for him because, in my opinion, these brothers didn't want to vote for a woman. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. They, that's 90% of why I think that Trump got so many votes. America's not ready for a female president. The rest of the world, every other country had a little dabble with a female leader, but America, no, we're not ready. We're just not ready, and that's
Well,
sad.
I guess I think it is, but the funny thing is that I mean listen to the chit chatter and they're saying like if she had no real solid policies, no real solid suggestions to where she would take the country,
So,
you
so what
know,
is Trump's policies? What does Trump have? I would ask that same person, what is Trump going to do for you or the country? He has nothing. For what the last 8 years, he said he's going to repeal and replace Obamacare in a day. He has a plan. And every time you ask him about it, oh yeah, we have several models, but 8 years, 8 years, you have several models of health care for low income family or people with pre-existing diseases. 8 years. Trump has no serious plan for anything. Infrastructure, health care, education. Look, he said the other day that he's going to probably ship back all the dreamers. And so if you were born in America from undocumented parents, you may get deported. So you're American. If you're born in America, you are an American. It's an amendment. It's in the Constitution. So how do you change that? Do you change the constitution so you can
What
deport those people?
what is the real reason for trying even suggesting that?
He's a racist, man. He's just a racist. That's all he is. He is. I always see beheaded blacks for Trumps, and I'm like, okay, bro, okay. Tell me what you're gonna get over the next 4 years. Yeah, absolutely nothing. He's
There's a
hiring people.
no. I was gonna say there's a lot of people, including black people, who would say calling someone a racist is a very strong um, I'd say term to use. Um, and then people would probably peel back too, and they start showing photo ups and videos and with people of color and stuff like that with Trump. But
Good.
you know, what really is a racist? In
Right.
terms of how do you define someone as a racist?
So there, if let's say I'm a racist, let's say I hated Chinese people, right? I might still associate with them. I might still go visit their restaurant or whatever. But deep in my heart, I hate their guts. So when people say, "Oh, this person's a racist, that person a racist," they has racist behaviors. They're not like Trump started this big political rally when Obama won the presidency. That's when he really started, and he started saying Obama was an American. He's going to investigate it, and all 8 years Obama wasn't there. He was looking for his birth certificate. He couldn't find it, but he said his birth certificate was fake, and he's a racist. And I remember at some comedy dinner, Obama told him, like, if you want to change things, run for president. So I was like, come on, Obama. And the guy actually ran. Anyway, look, I've faced racism so many times in my life. I've worked with guys that were racist. And they'll tell me, Darwin, I don't mean you, you're different. You're from Barbados. And I'm thinking, well, I'm still black, bro. He said, no, no, you're different. I'm talking to a straight racist guy that hates anybody with dark skin. But he's telling me I'm different.
But
So,
from your point of view, what did that mean to you? Because
because,
I've heard people over my time here say to me, I don't, I, no, mind you, I haven't changed. I don't believe I've changed the way how I am. Maybe I sound different here and there every now and then, but that's because living in Toronto, I could do that. But when I'm in Barbados or in Barbadian company, I can do this the same way that I doing this to you right now. I can do
right.
all of this here so very easily. Ain't a problem with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm just saying, like people say, you don't act like a black man, or I don't know
Right.
their stereotypical
So,
way of what
so,
a black man is.
so they would tell you that you don't act black because they know you. They're acquainted with you, right? But how many other black people are they acquainted with? You know what I mean? And I get that a lot. People say, "Man, you don't act black at all," or "You're the whitest black person I know." And I'm like, I've been acting this way from birth. I haven't changed anything. But you have never in your life met a black person and say, you know what? Let me get to know that person. Let me spend some time with that person to see if I like them or not. But if you're driving a hoopty, cherry red Cadillac, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're a bad black person. And that's the part I don't understand. It's like get to know the person. I'm not racist against anyone. You know, I take people as face value, get to know them. I decide, well, I want him to be my friend or him not to be my friend. I was having my 50th birthday party at my house. I had maybe over 50 people over, and we did a roasted pig, And it was in a predominantly white neighborhood that I had to go pick up the pig, and I went with a white friend of mine. And we were getting stared down like, what the F are you doing in our town, It's kind of to use a racist term, a redneck term.
To
So
pick up a
anyway,
pig.
yeah, like they'll roast it for you,
Hmm.
kind of like a Hawaiian pig,
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so we go and we pay, but we're in line to get the pig, and people are staring. And then when I got back into his pickup, he told me, he's like, Darwin, I now see what it feels like to be a black person. He said those people were staring at you and I like we're shit, blah blah blah. I said, but the good thing about it, Jeremy, is what you didn't feel is that the ones that were staring and saying, welcome, buddy, you're part of us, welcome. We accept you. I say you have to be a black person to get that vibe. I say you got the negative nasty, but there's some that saying, okay, it's cool, bro, nobody's gonna mess with you in my town.
Hmm.
But again, and that's in Washington, a real liberal, easygoing democratic state that racism is not a big thing. But there's still that vibe, or people that they will call me on the phone, they have a project going on, or send me plans for a project, and I'll talk to them 3, 4 times, boom, boom, boom. If we secure the project, then I'll meet with them to have pre-construction meeting, and they're so shocked when I walk through the door and I'm a black man. Yeah, because I don't have like my face on LinkedIn or any of those things or on my
Yeah, I know.
email. Yeah, so they're dealing with this guy that's in construction, middle management construction, and probably sound half white, business wise, on it, on it, on it, on it. So the last thing they expect is to see a black man, and they're like, whoa. But yeah, I mean, I'll pay $1 million every time I see one of those. Like, oh shit, he's black.
You know what
But
I,
yeah,
what I've realized, and over the years, I stopped consciously worrying too much about it anymore.
yeah,
There was a time when I would always think about it, but I think with growth, it helps me to phase it out and not to think about it. When it happens, I think I'll deal with it, but
no.
I don't try to think about it too much,
You
because I
see,
remember about maybe about 9 years ago, I was working in a town outside of Toronto, and just having to call service people in to do some work for me, and when they get there and they see who I am, the treatment is a resistance. Like they
yes,
don't want to do it for me.
for
Like
you, yeah.
I have to deal with this kind of stuff. So
Why
that
is
would
this guy
trigger me a little
bossing me
bit.
around? Yeah,
But
yeah.
now I don't worry too much about that. I just do what I
I,
do.
I'm very extroverted when it comes to meeting my customers. So the minute I enter, I walk right up, and boom, the main guy, telling my name. Hey, I'm Darwin Clarke, so and so. Here's my card. Usually I already have my information. I said, but you have my information, and then boom, boom, all around the room. Hey, boom, get all the names, and then we sit down. So right away, I just like kick open the door. I don't give them time to digest that. Oh shit, he's a black man. You know what I mean? And yeah, but before I would be like, oh shit, what do I do? But now it's like I go full force ahead, man. I blow them away, and it's like okay.
That I
And
think
they might say
that's
the
growth
same
too.
thing. Oh, he's different. He's different.
It's a bit of growth too, Darwin. I think that
Hmm.
happens with all of us. Um,
It is. It is growth. But I approach my hobby the same way too. I'm not taking no for an answer because I want to say I'm the only black person that sells, do what I do in the industry. I went over to see a guy about a week ago, and we had a good conversation and stuff. And I always like playing to what they're thinking or whatever. Then I'm driving off, and he had an Ontario plate, so I backed up. And I'm like, "You from Ontario?" He's like, "No, my girlfriend is." Oh, okay. He's like, "What is she doing out west?" Blah blah blah. And we talked a little bit. And then I said, "Okay, well, take care. I'll send you the estimate." And then when I was driving down, he said, "What's your name again?" I said, "Darwin." He said, "Oh, nice to meet you, Darwin." So thinking when I was originally leaving the job, I did not have that work. But then the Ontario plate went back, talked to him about my friends in Canada and stuff like that. When I was leaving, when he said, "What's your name again?" I was like, "Okay, we have this one." I went back to the office. I'm like, "Yeah, we have that guy's work, no problem." And it's just because that commonality, that similarity, hey, you're from Ontario, boom, open a different dialogue. But it's just part of selling too. But I do the same with my horses there. When I wake up every morning, I kind of challenge, not every morning, but 80% of the time, I challenged myself. I said, "Do you have the right horses? Everything's still on schedule. It's this, it's that. What's your plans?" And if I check all those boxes, then I move on. But if I think maybe I don't have the right horse, I kind of go back with that segment and go back to the drawing board and try to check every box. Why did I get this horse? Did I make a mistake? All that, and then if it's yes or no, then I move on from there. But I keep reinventing my strategy every day. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And it further solidifies that what I'm doing is what I think is correct.
Do you think that your passion for the horse racing in Barbados? I mean, you've came up through the system, so called. And do you think that your passion for horse racing in Barbados leads you to continue to fill a gap that you think is needed in Barbados racing? Do you see that the people who governs, I would say, racing in Barbados are accepting to loud people like you? You pretty much criticize them out in the open, and now the public, rather than jump on your side, it seems to lean towards the other side.
Yeah. Well, I don't need anybody to co-sign on my opinion, so I'm good. But I would always be vocal about it because I like it. I'm investing money every day in Barbados. I can put it somewhere else. Um, I'm a rebel with a cause. Look, you know, I told people, my good friend Jerry Allen. A lot of people don't know that we're pretty good friends. Years ago, he started breeding and stuff like that, and then he got more on an upscale level of breeding. He likes a certain mare. He this, he that. He does that checkbox thing, and I told him, I said, look, in a couple of years, you and I would take over the Creoles in Barbados. We'll have the best Creoles. And Jerry, he had two horses, two 2 year olds that made the track, that he bred, sorry, two that he bred. They both made the track. One won a race, one ran second and fourth, but they both made the track. And that is a high percent, 100%, and on the board 100%, and winning 50%. The other horse is going to win a race also, the filly. But I'm saying that to say this is I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, whether I get pushed back from the turf club, which I don't give a shit. Whether they agree or disagree with me, I'm going to keep. If I have your platform, coming on and telling them what they're doing. They're 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 not planners. They don't plan anything there. Recently, I guess they were repaving the lower paddock, and at the last minute they're scrambling, telling people you have to move your horses out. You have to move your horses out. I mean, races is next Wednesday, Thursday, sorry. So how can you have people moving their horses? I mean, you had from October to November. You had those 2 months that you could have done this repaving. If you didn't have the money, you can do it next year, but plan it in the off season, not when you're going to have races. So stuff like that is like it's nonsense. You're not running the place properly. I mean,
But I want to
but
ask
anyway,
you, I want to ask you a question on that. Do you think that stuff like that happens because people know, or people in those positions? And mind you, I don't know these people. I'm just saying. Do you think it's because people say, "Look, all I gotta do is say move, and that's gonna happen"? Is that the
right?
mentality?
Yeah, they know they can do the BS. They know they can do the bullshit. The horse owners there have nowhere else to go. You do that in the U.S., people will say, "Well, I'm not coming back to your track next year. I'm going next door. I'm going down the road. I'm going to race over there." And guess what? You keep messing up like that, your horse population is going to dwindle, and that track will close up. So, I mean, you have poor management skills in Barbados, and no one wants to improve. Absolutely no one. Don't matter what it is. Track maintenance, from the top to the bottom. Look, they don't rate the track, okay? Apparently, they're saying that it will cost too much to rate the track. But we pay money every month for track levy, which is supposed to go to the track. So take up the track levy by two more dollars. And some horse owners would be like, well, "Shut your mouth, bro. I don't want to pay another $2." But you can pay another $2, or your horse might get injured on that dead, beat up track. If it's the last horse to train. So pay a little money, get someone to rate the track. When I was a kid, they would have breaks to rate the track. In North America, they have breaks to rate the track. I think most tracks around 8ish or so, they'll close, resurface it, and then the horses go out again. But those people in Barbados don't give a shit. They don't care if your horse breaks down, so they don't rate the track. You know,
Yeah.
and raking might be a bad word. They don't condition the track,
Yeah.
recondition the track. 'Cause some people are like, well, what do you mean by raking? Yeah. So you want the best surface all the time to train the horses. So 50 or 100 horses trained, you come out, you recondition it, and the other horses go back. And longevity of the horses will be extended. You won't have to have owners, like, oh, my horse broke down, whatever, whatever. But they don't give a shit. So that's why I'm on them. Stuff like that. You can fix stuff like that. I mean, you go buy a horse for $30,000 or $40,000. I would pay extra $2 a month, $3, $10 a month, not having to replenish that horse, not having to go find another 30 or 40 grand to buy another horse. I'll pay extra, you know. But they don't like me to say that because somebody might have to think a little bit, 5 minutes or so, organize somebody else to get the track done. But if they were the ones putting the money up on a daily basis to make that happen, I'm sure they'll rate the track.
Yeah.
But just minor stuff like that. There's a hole somewhere in the top paddock that needs patching, and a horse can twist an ankle. I mean, look, I'm not blaming the turf club because I think it might have happened any other way. But Jocular, she messed up her hind end. She walks weird now and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's from the track. I know she had flipped in her first start, but anyway, her hind end is messed up. I'm not blaming the track. But I mean, if the track was maintained, then I could at least X that out and say maybe when she flipped over is when she got messed up behind. But
And you're talking about the main track, right? The turf.
not the turf, the sand track, the
Oh, okay.
exercise track, but even the
Just want to be
turf.
clear on that. Yeah.
So the turf track, by the half mile, there's always a wet spot. By the quarter mile, there's always a wet spot. And then I saw two wet spots last race day down the lane. So I'm not into landscaping, but I can tell you, if you have a bad drainage spot, in Barbados we have limestone, so you dig 2, 3 feet, you might hit rock, maybe 6 feet. But anyway, dig 6 feet, you put larger rocks, smaller rocks, tinier rocks, gravel, earth, and grass. And any type of moisture in that area will drain. It will drain. You know what I mean? You can get an expert to tell you exactly what you need to do, but fix that. That problem was there when I was riding. Same but a 2 foot pole. I was seeing jockeys fall in that area and died. Little Brown, he went down that area. Slade Callahan went down that area and messed up his hand. I mean, I can go on. That's where Tom broke his leg the last time in that area. I'm not saying that Pats is 100% to blame, but you can eliminate that by fixing those two spots on the track.
So, I
But
mean, so based on what you're saying, Darwin, I would say that you have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge about the specific issue that you're referring to. But it seems to me like what you're saying is that there's a lot of people, which is probably general public, which won't really matter anyways because
no,
they're
they
not
don't
going to make
care.
decisions on these things anyways. But I think is that it would be a good idea for the people who run
Yep.
the organization to really pay attention to those things actually, and rather than dismiss it.
But yeah, just the maintenance. I mean, any little thing that you can do to help the equine athletes, that would please me. I mean, I don't get into the day-to-day running, this and that and whatever, but take care of the horses. I mean, they already have a very small population and it's dwindling. So, when I say you need to reach out to the owners to see what you can do to improve the horse population, um, but take care of what you have right there. Like I'll go back a year ago and see horses that are gone. I mean, And I'm thinking, whatever happened to that horse? Maybe the horse went wrong. A lot of my horses went wrong, but there were older mares that were basically coming into breed. But I'm talking about babies that you can extend the longevity. Just maintain the track. That is big, big, big. It should be big on everybody's radar to take care of the track itself and help with it. Most of the track managers they don't listen. They have their own ideas. But I've never seen a track manager that have 10 or 12 horses of his own that he's going to do his darnest to keep those horses sound. And if you have a track manager that doesn't listen, then have a panel. Owners, trainers, whatever, 5 or 6 man team that makes those decisions. So not just having one person's opinion and their way of doing things. I mean, Philip Strong was the best paddock guy the Turf Club ever had. Ever, 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 ever. In my 40 something years. I think he's still around, but I mean, bring him in on a consulting basis, something to help them. But, you know, Strong probably left with, I don't know. I'm not getting to it, but he would be a good person to turn to.
I I can see I can see the problems that they're facing based on what you're saying. Maybe I'll need someone else, maybe from another side, to actually,
Yeah,
voice
that's what
that
you should do.
opinion.
You should reach out to the Turf Club and say, look, Darwin Clarke is talking shit about you. Would you like to come on my platform and defend whatever this guy is saying?
But that's what I want. But
You should
the
do
funny
that.
thing is, who is the turf club? I've reached out to the
This,
president.
the president, no, he's raw back saying, uh, and Murray resigned, but you get the CEO, Rosette Pierce, she's the CEO. And then I don't know who's the track guy, but they're all like um, Illuminati, secret societies. So you can't talk to one unless you talk to the other. But yeah, I mean, look, Mr. Mohammed is a good person in the turf club. He might be able to come on and explain their side of the story. Yeah, Mohammed, good guy.
But I think we had a great conversation. Very interesting and also very insightful. I think that what he's suggesting is pretty cool. And criticizing means that I definitely have to reach out now and see if I can get someone from the Barbados Turf Club to come on this platform and actually speak on behalf of themselves and share a little bit more information on perhaps what they're facing, perhaps give a insight of how their operation is run, and to show the public and show people, hey, look, we're not just gouging the people, and we don't care, but we actually do care, and we're just trying our best to maintain and make sure things are going the way how we would like it to go. Um, I know there's a lot of people who say, oh, most of the older people involved are gone now, so the kids and the grandkids are not interested. I've actually seen someone post with those comments, and it's a reality, because younger people, and then being a child of a person who was in charge of something doesn't necessarily mean that that child will be interested in what the legacy holds. So yeah, definitely. I'll dig a little bit deeper, see where I can find someone who will be interested to just to clear it up. I think it's a great topic. I think it's interesting. It's also good for that side, the culture, history, just the main thing, maintain things like that. Um, if you care about the horse racing part of the business in Barbados, then sure, yeah, you definitely should add on to it. And if you care about the horses, or care about the guys, that's their skill set. That's where a lot of people leave the island and hone their craft and start businesses and become good at what they do. Just be productive in society. Not everyone is going to be able to do different um, things in life, and for some others, being part of horse racing or looking after animals, that's their thing. So definitely, we should get this conversation going with the other side of the party. All right. Thank Darwin Clarke for adding his insight and information on what he had to say on not only the American politics and Canadian and but let's he also did a little bit about horses in Barbados and for that I thank him. So we'll talk next time. Take care. Peace.